Many businesses, universities, and communities have found powerful solutions within mentoring and coaching. Mentoring and coaching relationships allow for inspiration, for guide, and for support, with benefits such as confidence building, aspiration benchmarking, communication skills, and leadership skills. It is no wonder that more and more businesses and organizations are starting to implement mentoring and coaching as part of the internal strategies. And perhaps that's the value we need to provide to women in order for them to be in leadership roles. Today, I'm joined by an incredible group of panelists, and we're going to discuss how to use mentoring and coaching to successfully adjust to our new world of work. I'm joined by Rolene Strauss, who is an executive leadership coach and former Miss World, also by Janine Ahlers, who is the director at the Center of Coaching, and finally, last but definitely not least, Nothemba Mxenge, who is a certified integral coach and also founder of Epiphany Coaching. Let me jump right over to you, Janine. Let's start right at the beginning with a definition. Some people are not actually aware whether there's a difference or they're the same. Is there actually a difference or similarities between mentoring and coaching?
I'm so pleased you asked that question, first of all. It's one of the biggest misconceptions in society is coaching and mentoring. People say it all in one go as if it's one thing. So people come and they want to be their leadership skills improved. They've got challenges. I always say, who is your mentor and who is your coach? So I will come to a mentor if I want advice, if I want guidance, if I'd like to hear what are your stories, how did you get past this obstacle? In many parts of the world, people will choose mentors who are just like them and who look like them and who they aspire to role model after. Coaching, however, is not about giving advice. We always say focus on the person, not the problem. A coach is not there to necessarily solution solve your situation. The coach is there because they want to be able to work with you, the person, and develop your capabilities and your skills so that you can address the challenge for yourself. So a coach will look at they'll look at not only how you think about a challenge, they'll look at about how you feel emotionally and also how your nervous system responds, what's going on in your body that is causing you to, for example, freeze up when it comes to public speaking, which is often something people struggle with. Or if you get nervous every time you're around authority figures, again, something many people struggle with. So a mentor might share their story of how they resolved that. A coach would never share their story. They will work with you to develop your capabilities so that you are able to understand what's stopping you from being able to do that and build your skills so you can address it in your own way, which is why coaching does take a little longer and it's not a quick advice giving session.
I'm so thankful that you broke it down in that way. I had a little bit of a light bulb moment, Janine, and I'm going to stick with you. Would you then say that mentoring is more about sharing and talking, whereas coaching is more about listening to the person?
Oh, brilliant point. Yes. In fact, one of the biggest skills we teach coaches is how to listen. I will share one thing, though, is this very interesting. In South Africa, we seem to have a different pattern to the rest of the world. And some research some of my MBA students were doing was showing that in South Africa, instead of choosing a coach who necessarily looks and sounds just like you, and who you might think would be the perfect listener, often coachees will choose a coach that's from a demographic that's completely different. So that, and when we asked them, we said, why is that? They said, we want the person to listen to us and to hear us, and for me to truly be able to understand how to work with this individual differently, and to build my capability to engage with a person in a different way. So you're absolutely right. Listening, foundational skill for coaches.
So let's build a little bit on that, Nothemba. So I'm glad that Janine has broken down the definition. But now comes the values part of it. Is there a difference in terms of the values that you get from coaching versus mentoring? And what are those differences?
So again, because of the beautiful way that Janine has described the distinction between mentorship and coaching, I think the key differences is in terms of what is your take home. So with mentorship, the take home is I've got the advice, I've got your wisdom, I've got your expertise, I know what path I need to follow through on. Whereas with coaching, it's slightly more different, even though a coach can also do the same, that the value that you get from coaching is that, number one, you walk away from a coaching relationship being a little bit more onto yourself. And by that, I mean you're a lot more self-aware. You understand yourself a lot more differently in terms of your patterns around thinking, how you feel, how you behave, and how you relate with others. So that's the first part, that you are more onto yourself when you relate with engage a coach. Secondly, with that awareness, you can do something different about it. So you're more self-correcting. So there's an awareness of, okay, this is what my patterns look like. And the coach can then enable you to do something about it by self-correcting and actually building capability around doing things differently. And then finally, the more you do things differently, the more you can improve, I guess, the quality of life. And allowing yourself to continuously improve means you're building different competencies and capabilities. So maybe that's a slightly key distinction, in that with the mentor, you walk away with, okay, this is what they did. Maybe I can go and try it out. I can go and experiment. Whereas a coach really takes you on a more deeper experience in terms of how you can show up differently in your life.
So you wake up one morning and you realize, I need help. And you're not even sure what kind of help you actually need. And what would be a practical guide and the practical steps that one should go through to actually figure out whether they need a mentor or a coach? Let me throw that one to you, Rolene.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, Thami. What an amazing opportunity to be part of this conversation. And a lot of the times women don't really know whether they need coaching or mentoring, or whether they need any of that at all. And some of the things that might keep women from actually seeking mentorship or coaching is something that I see very often in my clients as well. And usually during the first few sessions, we kind of work on this limiting assumption that they have, where I sense that they have a certain block in the coaching process, something keeping them back or holding them back. And oftentimes it's the feeling of not deserving to be able to spend time as a woman on your personal growth, to spend time on improving who you are, on working on your ultimate life goal, and on actually learning how to learn, and on critically thinking about things. So a few things that might keep women from seeking coaching are things like self-confidence, not having the confidence to be authentic, to be vulnerable, to open up, which coaching or mentorship is very much about. Another thing is time. We all struggle with time. Time is the most valuable, non-renewable resource we have. And as women, we tend to feel like we want to spend time on other people, nurturing and nourishing other people, which might keep us from coaching. And when it comes to deciding between coaching and mentorship, I think that even though they differ so much, to be able to think about what Nothemba mentioned is, do I need someone to give me advice, or do I need to go on a deeper journey of discovering who I really am, what I really want from life, what I really want to accomplish in life? And when you can ask yourself that question, then you can decide whether you want to seek a coach or a mentor. And oftentimes doing these two things simultaneously is extremely valuable.
Well, You mentioned some vulnerability and confidence that's required, and I can't think of anybody better than you to ask, Rolene. I mean, you've been former Miss World. You need a lot of confidence for that. How do women actually go about building the confidence, not just through the mentoring and coaching, but even before that, to allow themselves to be confident and vulnerable enough to go and seek what is needed for them?
Thami, confidence and self-confidence specifically is my passion, and that is